Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
And welcome to 2022.
Whoop, whoop. Do we say whoop, whoop for every year and should we stop?
That's exciting. It's exciting.
Okay. Still exciting? Great.
The beginning is always exciting. When you get your school books for school, that time's very exciting.
Yeah, like a fresh start. Like, I don't have to fuck this up again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't talked to you since Christmas. Of course, Christmas is when Mother Mary said, I'm pregnant, even though Joseph, we never had sex. Joseph, apparently clearly up to something himself, said, okay, no problem.
Right. I wish podcasts were around then and they would just have like an episode right after. Like, this is what because I feel like we're getting the short answer and there was a lot in between.
There had to be some communication. So a talking to.
Right. Like, was there any confusion just at the start, maybe?
Right. I choose to believe that she was indeed a virgin because I hate to think about her any other way. Big news, though, is that Betty White passed away. 99
years old. How'd she die?
Well, I guess God needed a dumb bitch. No, I'm Team Dorothy. That's all. Of course, I like Rose just as much as the next person. Did you that true story? There was, I'll tell you how.
I'm sorry, but you say so many controversial things. We've almost been doing this for 17 years. And my heart stopped the most when you just said that, because you don't have to like Betty White, but you have to understand that she is loved and you can't say shit.
Is it one that, do people even care, or is it one of those cute things to say? Like we all say it, like, because I got to be honest, when I'm hanging out with people, nobody brings up Betty White, but you go on the internet, they can't get enough of Betty White and her days on the Mary Tyler Moore show. Everybody's rewatching, apparently.
Okay, I think in your circles, no, but in my circles, nobody brings up football except for you. You know what I mean? So I think like there's an audience for this, and you might not be. You might be in like the outer circle of this, but people got all of the Golden Girls tattooed on them, like multiple people, right? That I remember when there was a petition to get Betty White on SNL, and poof, she was. It didn't even take that long. There's this strong following that whether you follow it or not, you have to acknowledge it. This isn't me saying you have to admit Madonna is good, okay? Which is a different subject that you've fucked with on this show also. This is me going, you have to acknowledge people really loved her and she seemed great.
I did like Betty White. Because it's cute when you have somebody that's almost 100 years old being like, go eat a bag of dicks. And you're like, oh, Betty. Betty White's on talk shows and everybody goes nuts, whatever. Things she says that a young person should say, right. Jason Momoa, the fit guy, Aquaman, he's on, from Game of Thrones. He's on a late night show and he's looking fit as fuck. And he goes, look at you, Betty. How do you feel? And she's like, better now. And the crowd goes nuts. They just piss on themselves. They're like, you're implying you would fuck him, Betty. That is crazy.
Because what we expect from 80-something-year-olds, let's put an age on it, 80-something-years-old, we expect racism, misunderstanding of like every new technology. So when you just act regular, I only hope that I live to be old so that I can say regular shit and people are psyched about it. Right. That's what I can't wait for.
Well, she didn't get along with B. Arthur on that show. The Golden Girls.
Samantha.
Well, there's always a Samantha. B. Arthur, no joke, got upset about how happy Betty White was. That she was always a ray of sunshine, and it got on Dorothy's nerves in real life. And
guess who lived longer?
There you have it.
Sometimes hate will keep you going, but sometimes it'll just kill you first. But yeah, about old people doing regular shit. Remember in that Adam Sandler movie, the Wedding Singer, and they had that old woman. And they cut to her go, to the hip, hop, the hip, to the hip, hop, and you don't stop. And it's like anyone else, it would be like appropriation. You can't be as cool as that. Like, but because it's the opposite of cool, and she memorized funny lines like hip, hop, hip it to the hip it, and everyone lost their mind. And it's the thing that people remember from that movie so much.
Well, that's the thing with old people. It's life. Everybody gives you so many outs now. You can do it, you'd say Jason Momoa, I'm better now that I see him, and the crowd comes all over the place. That my dad is such an asshole at 82 and gets no favors thrown his way shows you what a piece of shit he is.
That's true. We forgive old people so much.
Yeah.
We actually lower the bar as we get older.
Yeah. But, we're like, oh, and so many things you let these people like, oh, they're from a different time. Really?
Right.
You think you'd see an elevator and start screaming. I think he had time to process the world. we give people outs and he still blows it. But I can ask, how did Betty White die? How'd she die? Let's see. When she did Comedy Central roast, people couldn't believe a 99-year-old could rate their own jokes. She couldn't believe how many people thought she wrote her jokes. Her head exploded. How'd she die? She was 100 almost. Not exactly 100, 99. Her birthday is, I believe, the 17th of this month. And People magazine went for it. And there's magazines out now, 100 years old.
The thing is she was 100 years old. If you're 2 weeks shy of 100 years old, you have lived 100 years.
Just know you got to go day by day when you're in the 90s.
Right. Every day you wake up, you go, huh, okay. You don't another one.
Still here? Question mark. Find out inside at a link that you click on and.
Hey, you up? But no, seriously. Right. Can you get up?
She was doing radio plays at 8 years old, Betty White. Then, of course, Mary Tyler Moore Show, but that wasn't until she was in her 50s.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And then
is it weird that now we're giving her family praise that she was doing things at 8 years old, but really isn't that child labor?
I don't think she showed up. Hello. All right. Well, we got her voice, I guess. She just barged into this room. Let's keep it going. She had 3 husbands.
Nice. 99 years old.
Yeah,
you have a husband every 33 years. You're cool.
That's normal. So there you have it. The Betty White. In case you were thinking the year's shit, they shoved it right in there. Just one last one. I just want you to know everything blew it. You know Betty White, who you love? 31st dead.
I do notice, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but remember 2020 was leaving and everyone's like, fucking goodbye. 2021 is going to be the year where we get to breathe, literally, right? There was all this stuff around breathing. And mid 2021, everyone's like, why did we do this to ourselves? Why did we think that stepping into another timeline of literally the next minute into another year would do this? And I think for 2022, people's hopes were nice and regular, I hope to get closer with the people in my life. And I hope that I just continue living and breathing. Thank you for this world. I feel like the goals are different. The expectation is different. And maybe the bar has been lowered to a more reasonable task list.
Oh,
is that possible?
2022 goals are I'm going to get my mail every day. Yeah. First of all, I get nervous every year when they have those New Year's Eve glasses. And I'm like, there's no way they can put 2022 into glasses. They can do it every year. They figure out how to do it. So there's still something out there that's going pretty right. Pretty right. I have an announcement here. Lexi wrote it and wants to give out a shout out. Says, I just wanted to shout out my girlfriend, Maria Alvarado. Ooh, Lexi and Maria. Nice. She's a longtime listener of your show and means the absolute world to me. Merry Christmas, my love.
And I assume she means also Happy New Year's, the whole thing.
I don't want to assume.
You're right. You're right.
Maybe Maria acted up since then. I don't know, but Merry Christmas. That one you have from Lexi for sure. It's a new year. We got to start it off right. Okay. BetterHelp. Better HELP. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Is there something interfering with your happiness? Yeah, COVID. Is there something preventing you from achieving your goals? Yeah, the world being shit. But you got to realize what is up to you that you can control. And those are the things you control. Kenda's a big fan of this. I am as well. Be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Okay? A broad range of expertise is available. And now you can take advantage of that.
And it is really nice to just be able to speak to someone with no consequences.
Yes.
You can just say the things that you're not even sure if you should say out loud. Say it to this person.
And not only do they listen to you, they have to. In fact, I tell them at the start of calls, I'm like, and it's Keith, and you gotta. Here we go.
Imagine being Keith's therapist. Oh,
it's a treat for her, believe
it
me.
Is. Yes, of course.
I have to assume I do so well that they put me on speaker. Not ethical, but I have to assume they no, of course they don't. It's private. It's one-on-one. You can go do it through chat, text. You can do it through a phone call. You can do it through a video, whatever you like. I'm the phone call kind of person because I like, parading around my house as I'm talking.
Did your therapist tell you to call it parading instead of pacing? That's good. It's like a positive version of walking around.
So here's what you do. And you can get 10% off your first month. Ready? BetterHelp.com/KATG for Keith and the girl. BetterHelp.com/KATG. I brought up COVID. And I went old school looking for gifts. I went in actual stores for Christmas.
Why?
Because I waited last minute. It's not
okay.
romantic as I'm making it sound.
Apologize. I called you out. I should have known the signs at this point of knowing you for this long, and I apologize.
And all these test centers, there were so many pop-up COVID test centers
with lines.
With lines
around the corner.
I was surprised by this.
Yeah, I heard about this. And then we took a long bike ride, like 24 miles. And it was every other corner. And on our bikes, we don't have masks because we're out and we're separated from people. But around this, it was like swarms, and the only populated areas outside were these lines. And you look around and you're like, okay, you're going to get tested. And they are standing right next to each other and they can't all be together.
Right. You get your test there. And then 5 days later, you get a test because you got your test there.
Mm-hmm.
And it never ends. Did you see like a week or so ago, the CDC said that people who test positive for COVID only need to go in isolation for 5 days. I understood it was easily 2 weeks, right?
Me too, yeah.
The agency said people don't need a negative COVID test to resume normal activity. And
does that mean that you have to be at least vaccinated for this?
Take your days, but if they need you at work, you only need to be up to 5. So the virus knows if you're essential at your office or not. Did the CDC work with your boss? Are they in cahoots? What the fuck would the virus know if you're essential? Then you only need 5 days. They say like it's 10 days. I'm reading right now. 10 days. The last 5 days aren't as important as the first 5 days. So they're saying if you have to, well,
I see.
Just what are the rules?
Well, you're not as contagious, but I bet that's not a fun week at work if you have to come back early. We were dropping some drugs off at Keith's place, and. Spoiler, Keith, I think you had COVID. Yes.
Yeah. So I got COVID for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is like in the middle of it, right? Within the first 5 days. So we put the thing in front of his door, rang the doorbell and moved like 12 feet away. And then I knew you would do this. I knew he'd come out and then pretend to step closer, like just naturally like, oh yeah. And we were like, I don't care if you think you're funny or not. We're stepping back. I
put my hand out like it has the words in my hand, like, hello. I'm doing a presentation. Yeah, it's not good. This virus. I'm not surprised that I got it. I'm with Kyle. Kyle has kids. I'm going to get it. The ex came over for Christmas to spend time with the kids, and he was sick as a dog. I don't know.
Over. He has to fly over, right?
He flew over right from Florida. So I'm gonna guess she got it, and the next thing you know, obviously I'm gonna get it. She got tested and has it, so I assume that's what it was. My head was fucking killing me, like pounding 360 degrees. Chills, the chills where You got to cover up. You're so cold, but in 5 minutes you're sweating all over yourself, and you got to pick which one you want. And you're like, all right, I guess I sweat all over myself. And the joints were bad, and I have bad knees, so those were terrible. And so feeling better about 2 or 3 days into that, but still lethargic. No exaggeration, like 15 hours sleep a day. Yesterday was 15 hours.
Wow, you seem okay.
It's not.
Are you sucking it up for the show? A
little bit. It's more. It's more tired than pain now.
You're wearing sleeves, like an actual sweatshirt, which is crazy to me. Yeah. I'm like, why do you look different? You don't look sick. You look outfitted sick. Like you would only wear that if you're in the hospital or COVID.
Kyle lost her sense of smell.
How does she feel?
She loves it. Now I can have fish around her. It's changing everything. It's the greatest. I didn't have that problem, but I did get nervous because you're supposed to treat it like a cold. So you can have NyQuil, chicken soup, this kind of stuff.
Ooh, chicken soup.
Chicken soup. Ooh, by the way, so she did get tested positive, saw a doctor. Doctor said, have chicken soup, have NyQuil, sports drinks, for your electrolytes. She brought up, but not Gatorade, right? That's not good for. How the fuck did you add me into it? Oh. First of all, you gave this shit to me.
What was the answer?
No, not Gatorade. It's shit.
Was the answer no, not Gatorade? I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I'm just sitting there at home. You got to bring me up. But Gatorade? No, not Gatorade. More Pedialyte. Oh, okay. I have to make a phone call real quick.
Have you switched to Pedialyte since?
You know what? Also, when I started noticing these lines at testing sites, I started noticing that regular stores in the front and bodegas have Pedialyte or a different version of that. And I didn't. I'm like, this is interesting placement.
Like since COVID or?
Yeah, no, since recently, since this Omicron.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So, do you like Gatorade? Is this other thing sort of the same?
There's something about Gatorade that's special.
Sugar, you think?
It doesn't really taste so sugary to me, Gatorade, but I don't know. But apparently doctors aren't fans.
What's the difference between Pedialyte and Gatorade in taste?
I didn't go to school for this.
Just in taste. Like, how do you like it? We'll do a taste test sometime. Okay, no pressure. Sorry.
They have Pedialyte for adults.
I'm sorry, I asked you a gotcha question. We can move on.
They have Pedialyte for adults, not called Pedialyte, and that doesn't taste bad.
Okay, because I was wondering, like, do you not want to just walk around with something called Pedialyte in your hand? That seems like
it doesn't matter.
Odd, or like it's the new cookies with candy with a van. Like Pedialyte.
Well, the chicken soup I got happened to be the most blandest chicken soup I've ever had in my life, and I was nervous that I lost my taste.
It just turns out it was bad soup.
It was just terribly bland soup. So yeah, I just started. So then I had to eat a pint of ice cream to make sure, and that worked out well. So that I can taste that.
Well, what are you going to do when you're sweating? You need the ice cream. When you're cold, you need the soup. You did what you could.
You get it.
Were you at all mad or sad or any words that rhyme with that when you heard you got COVID? Are you expecting it by now?
Maybe I didn't know. Well, I you know what? With being vaccinated, I assume maybe I did have it. Maybe it came and went. But this I felt, and again, even though I didn't get tested for it, that's definitely what it was.
It turns out like when this time off from recording first started, we decided to quarantine. We were going to visit, the nephews and stuff like that, and just a small circle of people, like 2, maybe 5 people, and outdoors and all this shit. And we heard this spike is happening and we quarantined. And I think we were the only ones who literally didn't see any other people. And everybody else got it. Everybody got it. Everybody I know got it. And, people are being good, but you got your kids in school or whatever. Right.
Yeah. Get the vaccine. Yeah. I think, what do I know? But it could have been, if it would have been rougher, I don't know. I'd be dead.
Wow, is it that bad? You never talk like that when you're sick. You're just like, I'm sick. I get to watch TV.
The worst. And then I don't happen to have Advil or anything like that in my home. And I'm like, you ever do that? Walk with a 200-pound head? Ever walk like a block? I'm like,
Well, it
Look
feels
like a
like a
zombie.
mile.
They throw me the aspirin from across the place. You know, I was still getting newspapers. I saw on one side of the paper says, "End the mandates, Joe." And then on the other side of the same newspaper, hospital rates soar 30%. Why don't you guys, work together? It's the same paper. Children's hospitals are full. Those went up like 40%.
Oof.
More people do those dopey protests in shitty places, of course. Before it was a cheesecake factory. This one I'm reading about now is at a Burger King.
Wow, shots fired, Cheesecake Factory.
Well, come on.
Burger King.
I didn't know that at first. First time I thought it was a 4-star restaurant.
Yeah, you really did come from the country sometimes.
They have nice grass fixins.
It's so funny what you used to think was like top level food.
Yeah. I remember Adam Curry was he stole our feed, our Keith and the Girl feed. He called himself the Podfather, and he was just a real shady piece of shit. And so we put him on blast and then said, you know what? You want to have a sit? First of all, I called you a piece of shit asshole. And you're like, why don't we sit down and talk about it? That just means you're a bigger shithead. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean you could see all sides and negotiate and talk about things. That means you're a big piece of shit. Like, I want you to die in a ditch and burn in hell. Okay, I see what you're saying. Maybe there's a misunderstanding, young podcasters.
And I offer a counterpoint.
Right. And I said, you know what? Maybe we can, but you're going to take us to the Cheesecake Factory. And then he was like, all right, well, these guys are keep fucking with me. Forget it.
Wait, you were serious?
I thought that was a nice place. I'm like, you're going to pick up the town to the Cheesecake Factory. There's brass all over that place.
I thought you were joking.
Yeah, we could have had a meeting. No, I wasn't joking. He blew it.
I have known you for almost 2 decades now.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were kidding.
Nope, I had no idea. 5 people were arrested.
Where's the best steak from? Obviously, Cheesecake Factory.
Well, I don't know. Then I got there and I'm like, oh, there's 27 pages to this menu. That can't be good.
It's called a factory.
5 people were arrested after protesters stormed a Burger King in downtown Brooklyn. The maskless protesters were filmed screaming at employees for refusing to serve them at the Fulton Street area eatery, 7:30 p.m. You're fighting to eat that crap. Can you imagine? I said, go in the back. Go in the back. They're like, well, you have to serve us. Just go in the fucking back. Who cares? I'm not here to start anything.
You would let them in with no mask?
Let them in. It's a Burger King. What am I, the doorman? Whatever the fuck you want. Yeah.
What were they wearing? I don't know.
One woman, or a dude, excuse me, Mitchell Bosch, 41, was one of the 5 people taken into custody, had already been to the Cheesecake Factory and protested, and to Applebee's. So this guy has a lot of war stories. Follow his blog.
Wow, 41 years old. And this is the protest he wants to join.
You have family? Yeah.
What happened in your life?
Hey, your dad was in the news again. Oh,
there was so many opportunities to, fight the men, fight for your rights. This is, you know what? I'm 41. Let me put my sneakers on here, my cargo shorts. I'm going to make a difference.
There's an anti-vaxxer. He's a boxing champion. He's known as the Undertaker, 41 years old. He did not have the vaccine. Discharged himself from the hospital to treat, quote, this little virus, and he's dead.
I don't know why I keep being surprised by this.
Right. But aren't we taking it serious by now? Even if people aren't behaving because everybody's so selfish. But it's if you're admitted to a hospital, don't you know by now it's the real deal?
Yeah, these stories, like you just said, where it's, the twist is so obvious, except for to me, I'm just like, oh, little virus. I guess he got the little version of it. And I'm like, oh, he died. It's the ultimate. Right. It's it should be the biggest convincer. This is because a lot of, I think when this first started, it was like, well, my immune system is strong. So, yeah, your grandma died, but she's grandma. And yeah, the people in your life with a weak ass body died. And it's this guy. Could we wake up a little bit? And it's not about your muscles.
I saw the Spider-Man movie and I was curious how many people were there were vaxxed. And my way of thinking is, I can't care if I kill you. But yeah, those theaters were packed, of course. And I say,
how
of
was
course,
your theater?
Because it was packed.
Mm.
And I'm like, all right, let's trust y'all. Again, I'm only seeing Kyle. Okay. I'm fine.
I don't know.
What are you going to do?
I'm not that comfortable yet.
I get you. That was Spider-Man. It's called Spider-Man No Way Home. The first one was Spider-Man Homecoming. Then No Way Home. Then Far From Home. Then No Way Home. Home Slice is coming out. I think that's the new Black Spider-Man. But is it worth dying over? Kinda. It's pretty fucking good.
Was it good? Are you saying a movie was good, or are you just saying that because you got COVID and the movie was better than COVID?
Those are always good. Those Marvel movies in general, always good. You got 3 Spider-Men. You got 17 bad guys from all the old movies. I enjoyed it very much.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. You enjoyed it very much?
Yes.
Wow. I need a chart.
Well, it's Spider-Man. I think they should put him in everything.
Wow. Wow. You really did move to Queens. Was it partially because you pretended to be Spider-Man as a kid?
Yes. Yes. Now you know what got me here. Yeah, I would tell my sister that I was Peter Parker and I'm here to save the family. And my sister believed it. Was like, yeah, our family's a mess. I believe you. I said, wake me up in the middle of the night and I'll climb the walls. And supposedly she tried to wake me up, but it didn't work. She didn't try too hard. But
it wasn't an emergency.
I'd be outside. What kind of an emergency? Just emotional. No. My Spider-Man did a lot of emotional help.
No, I said there wasn't an emergency, which is why you didn't wake up.
No, I wouldn't. The tingles would have went off. I would have known anyway. But I'd be outside and I'd act like I'd jump on the building and then stop and be like, you know what? Somebody could say, wake me up in the middle of the night.
That is actually very cute as a little kid. How old were you?
22. I don't know, but appropriate. Let's say appropriate.
Like 4, 5, 6 years old.
Oh my God. Yes. So my sister was 0. Okay. Maybe older than appropriate. No, I was a flat out liar. I don't know. I was a teenager probably.
You were a teenager?
She's got to be younger than me.
I'm just trying to see how old you were again, because you got beat for it. You got hit with a spoon. Yeah.
She was supposed to keep it a secret. Still livid about this. Good to know now that she can't keep a secret. And she was so young that she had to be watched when she was taking a bath. And then all of a sudden, my mom came out of the bathroom and said, "Oh, how's it going over there, Spider-Man?" And then I got hit for being Spider-Man. And I knew you can't pretend you're a superhero, because what'll happen if in the future somebody goes, "Oh my God, my kid's stuck under a car. Malley's, we need Spider-Man." And meanwhile, they should have called 911 and the kid's dead. So you can't be faking that you're a superhero out there. I understand now why.
I do. Do you wonder why your mom got so upset? It seemed like, because I'm trying to think of what would make a parent upset. Is it that you thought there were even any troubles? Is it that you were lying? Because this seems like I know we've reviewed this before, but I don't understand. Your mother was a very reasonable person, other than the very big belief in
maybe that's
Jesus
what
Christ.
It was. Maybe she was upset because what? Only
because maybe it's religion, anti-religion.
Oh, I didn't take that.
Oh,
but maybe she was upset and didn't know how to. Maybe she was upset that I said this family has problems and I'm here to fix them, and that's just so upsetting. You don't know where to put that other than hit your kid on the ass.
I can't come up with anything else other than religion, and that's magical powers. So maybe that's weird, but right. You got to get a lot of anger. You're like playing with your kid in the tub, right. And it's like, and Keith is Spider-Man. So if anything goes wrong, he's gonna come and save us. It's like, Keith's what? Yeah, he's gonna climb the walls. He's made of magic. He's my big brother, and I love him so much. And also, don't tell him, because I told him not to tell him, but he's Spider-Man. Okay, and that's very special. So he's like the most special brother I have. The most special? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. You should go talk to him about it. Maybe tell you, because he likes you also.
And when my mom came out, I acted like my tingles were telling me that she's drowning. And I'm like, I gotta go. Christy's drowning in the tub.
Like, how does that turn into anger?
Yeah, right. So don't worry, Mommy. You don't have to cry while you're bathing me anymore because Keith is going to fix everything. His last name's Spider-Man, but also Malley. So it's totally reasonable. And Jesus Christ loves him.
I'm just sad that eventually he'll have to leave when he fixes our problems. You know, we got problems, right, Mom?
Yeah, Mom, that's okay. Everybody has problems. That's why Spider-Man exists. Spider-Man / Keith.
So over the vacation, I took a little easy breezy, and then I'm like, all right, now I'll buckle down, do some work. And that's when COVID struck. But I did get TVs installed on the wall of my place. And
what do you think you did for that?
You got to call the person. They come over. They do it. I really do. Like, so he puts the TVs up, and I'm like, I'm going to get a big fat burrito. I think I've earned it.
You know what? You managed the situation. And yes. I think that does count.
It doesn't get done by itself. I am so bad at handyman stuff. You know that the cord hider that you put underneath the TV? You know, it's a vertical strip that goes on the wall. You put your cord in, and you cover it up. I said, hey, why?
No, don't eat it, Spider-Man.
No, you don't eat it.
No,
but
okay.
Why would you eat it? You just put it there. So I had one before, and then I said, hey, while you're here, can you unscrew this? I'm going to throw it out because my cord won't go through that slot.
Oh, no.
And he goes, right. Or.
Oh, he's a nice one.
There's an idea that some of us do when we fuck around. No reason anybody would. You probably wouldn't even know about this. But you don't have to slide the thick part of the cord in. You just put the cord there where the plug could be already at the bottom of it, and then you cover that. And I'm like, well, look at me with no penis. Let's keep it, as a matter of fact, and you're free to go.
You know what? Aren't we learning that it's not penis related? Maybe a little bit.
I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, you're just until you know better. It's penis related, and you no longer have one. Oh, yeah, okay. We'll R.I.P. I'm sorry. Yeah.
What did you do? You couldn't go to shows or anything, but now's the time that for festivities.
True. We did quarantine, even though we had 3 weeks, but we used the time to redo the entire apartment. So if you are watching on YouTube, I look different. We're still working out the coloring in here. So I might be changing colors because that's still happening. But the wall is painted. Everything is stripped. And speaking of, people who can't do handiwork, my ex was okay, I guess. But new boyfriend had to undo old boyfriend shit.
Oh, yeah?
That was, 50,000 screws in one place instead of just one. The nails were going in diagonally, so you got to pull it out weird. Had to close the secret hole that the ex made for hiding secret things from me. That had to be closed. It's just, imagine.
Did you think to keep it? Like, hey, do we need a secret hole for anything?
I should have asked him, like, hey, are you going to keep the secret hole? Because every dude needs a secret hole and that's just normal.
Right.
No? Oh, we're going to close it? How are you going to keep secrets from? Oh, you're not. Let's try that version out. Okay. So yeah, the whole place is different. We're still living in a little bit of a mess, but I say we did it, but all I did was like, can I help you? Are you done with these boxes? I'll fold them up. I'll break them down. I'll take them out. I'm going to make food. Do you want food? I'll do the dishes. So it's just like one person building this new place and the other person just sort of like brooming behind him, trying to help.
I told the TaskRabbit, I would every so often, I'm like, I can't help you. So he knows I'm not trying to be a jerk, I'm unable.
You don't want me to help you.
How you like your new setup?
I love it. We have an office now. Like I sat here and did work all day instead of the kitchen or the living room or outside. And I love the versatility of being in other rooms, but this is really nice. And the walls are clean and the things are in place.
What if you need to do a costume change? See, the other time when you had it in your closet with clothes all around, you can quickly grab something if the story called for it.
Yep. I'm sorry about the lack of that happening, but I don't know. We have very few neighbors, but our neighbors, I don't know what they're thinking. They have to take out the garbage. So we put it in a little garbage area and then they have to take it out garbage night. They must have hated us the past 3 weeks. I don't know how people have this much stuff. It's like, do we need this anymore? The more we said no, I don't know, the hornier I got, I guess. It was so beautiful throwing things out. Like, do we need this? No. Oh, we're having sex. This is great.
All right.
There's more room to have the sex.
Well, congrats.
Hey, thank you, Ed. I'm sorry it went there. It's been.
Did you have sex in that office?
Oh, not yet.
Okay. Well, there you go.
It just got set up though.
Kendall was telling me you saw a Zoom show.
Yes.
Judah Friedlander was doing a Zoom, some kind of stand-up show, right?
Yeah. How cool is that? I know we have silent trailers. Oh, our marathon is coming up February 5th, first Saturday of February. And it's, we're streaming it live on YouTube. So make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell. But, when you look for these virtual shows, people like Judah Friedlander are doing it. And I think it was pay what you want. I like to give some money when they do that, sure. Even if you can just give $0 or $1. And so what he does is a lot of his shows are riffing. So he's on, and it's not like our show where like the audience is just text chatting. You could see everyone's camera. And if your camera's on, they ask you to leave your camera on. They ask you to leave your mic on. We want to hear you, stuff like that, because you're going to be part of the show. So he takes someone, and let's say he sees you, he puts you up so all of us can see you because that's who he's talking to. And he's like, hey, Keith Malley, I see you're over here. You like the sleeveless shirts? And he just kind of, off the cuff. So sometimes he'll start talking about another person and then put their video up. And he goes, oh, let's see over here. These people look like they're having sex. And I'm like, that's funny. Put their video up. And he puts the video up and I'm like, oh, it's weird. It does look like there's a pajama butt in our face, but it doesn't look like people are having sex. And he's saying the name that's on their screen, because we all have name tags, which is great. He's saying the names. And then you hear, I forget the name, which is so funny. How could I forget the name? This is such a crazy moment. Let's see. It's Betty, right? So Betty, move off the screen. Betty, move off the screen. Betty, your screen is on. And then all of a sudden, that person with the pajama bottoms that was leaning over, she turns around, like has this like, oh, and then moves out of the way. But she moves out of the way so quickly that you see a naked man.
All right.
Right under.
That's a show. You look back, like what was Judah talking about that was getting them going? He was,
you know what? Not anything sexy. Not at all. Nope. And you didn't see any like genitalia or anything, but it was obvious that this was happening. And he goes, oh, I took you down. You should close. He was so kind about it. And for me, I'm like, how would we be? Right? Like your camera's on, and people have gone into our chat in the past, like just to have sex on camera while people are watching. Like, you guys talk about whatever you want. We're going to have sex. Like, that does happen. I guess she seems startled, but I don't know. Is it part of it? Did you really forget that you were watching a show and your camera's on? I don't know. Would you, if you had control, and maybe this should be the poll.
Yes.
If you had control of that person's video where you're making it, the large video, you're focused on it.
Yes.
Would you move it out of the way? Would you switch the camera if you saw that people were having sex?
I would be happy to show people their camera. Yes.
So you would keep it on them.
Yes.
Because he as soon as he saw, he's like, oh, I hid your camera. No worries.
No, absolutely not. No, he's not a professional. He's a comic. He's not a podcaster. He's not a Zoom master. No, absolutely. We would discuss technique and everything. Of course. Because you're either done or you're not,
Right.
So what do we do now? Yeah, that's up to you.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is up to you. If, I don't know, they sort of went out. She saw it and nobody kind of did that. Oh, let me cover my camera or do like that immediate shuffle. I don't know, but he did take the camera down pretty quickly. Shout out to Judah Friedlander, who was pretty polite about it.
Well, I wouldn't be rude, but let's get down to dirty and see what's doing over there. Absolutely.
Let's give you what you want, what you need.
Yeah, they know what's doing and they're into it. Otherwise, they would have looked at the camera and be like, "Who are we looking at? Who's having sex?" Try to play it off like you're just like you farted in a movie theater and you're like, "Where was that coming from?"
I mean, they did apologize in the chat after. They were like, "We're so sorry." And I don't know, you don't have to apologize.
Well, that's weird.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's fine. They're wackos. KeithAndTheGirl.com/VIP. Of course, it's every show we've ever done. How many years are we going on now? 17. So it's all those shows. It's bonus spin-off episodes. And we put up some new episodes during the break just now. New Daddy Issues show is up where I do talk about my dad with my youngest brother, Ken. It never ends. It never ends.
It doesn't end. And you know what? It doesn't peter off either, because you bring up these things and I'm like, okay, obviously the big saga, the arc has hit its peak, whatever. And he sends more stuff, more fodder. And it's like, oh, well, this isn't going to be as crazy as the last. And it is.
Yeah.
It is.
There's always something.
Wow.
If you're new, KeithAndTheGirl.com/dad, DAD. It's a self-contained thing. And it talks about how my dad hit on my ex-wife as he was still talking to me. And it's as nuts as it sounds. Well, things still happen. So we had to do a whole spin-off show on my dad. This is episode number 14 is up now. The description reads as follows. First of all, the title is Christios Razdadshetsa. Okay, so you'll see what that's about. The Malleys are ready to help you celebrate the holidays with a wonderful Christmas message from their father, Slavite Jeho, he writes. No. How beautiful. There's nothing quite like family. Anyway, the brothers discuss finding old letters from both of their parents. A letter that their dad wrote their mom about suicide, and a secret fictional yet obviously true story that their mom wrote about their dad.
That was so sad.
You might did you hear it?
I skimmed for now because I wanted to know what everyone was talking about, and so I can't say that I can quote it, but it was so obvious. And she has mentioned kind of something like those points in real life to me. Right. Like, I thought, he had an education. I thought, but he never made money. He's never going to make money. I'm going to have to work until I die.
My mom was writing this quote fictitious story. And there's Laura, obviously her. There's John, obviously him. And about him being a loser, asking her for money. And if I try to tell him something, he'll just twist my words and use them against me. She wrote all this and hid it in her cookbook where my dad would never go. And we just, she's in assisted living now. My dad moved out, and that's how we happened to come across this, and came across a letter. And we think these are about both the same times. And I believe it was like 1998. And he wrote a letter saying, "You were mad at me that I threw out 18 jars of spaghetti sauce because he says he gave them to the Salvation Army. I don't believe that. But anyway, he says, you were mad that I threw out this food, but I won't have spoiled food in my house. And you said it would cause you to kill yourself. Well, you have to get help for that. And I can't be responsible. Maybe we should break up." And it's like, after reading this letter, the other letter about how he twists words around, my mom never said, "Oh, there's food. You threw it out. I think I want to kill myself." She would have said something like, if there is any truth to it, she would have said something like, I'd rather die than be throwing out food. Yeah. And then she's like, did you bring up suicide? So yeah, it's all kinds of fucked up.
And you also see how he forever puts words into people's mouths that they never said, good or bad. I know that some of the reaction to this episode was, hey, maybe that's where Keith gets his exploration craziness from.
Who knows? Lil Pa is saying, just started listening, and it is so heartbreaking, this show. It's one thing to suspect your mom was miserable in her marriage. It's another to get confirmation. To which I think, was I just not doing a good job on these shows? Now you know. Now you know Zsa Zsa Gabor wasn't too happy. Miranda writes, usually the dad stories are like, oh my God, this is just like my dad. I thought I was alone. Weird that this is where they diverge. No longer can this person say, We have a lot in common. Mr. Father says, this is Henna, says, Mr. Father Malley's whole suicide letter. He was a priest, by the way. Father Malley's whole suicide lecture was so viciously passive aggressive. I'm sure Mom Malley saved the letter. Yeah, she saved, no matter who printed it out, whether it was her, it was an email that he wrote to her, whether he's like, you didn't check your email and print it out and gave it, or she's like, I'm going to print it out and read it later. Whatever happened, she decided to save it. So is that for evidence in court? Well, you know, do you want to show it as proof to one of your girlfriends? I don't know, but you wanted that ridiculousness saved. Father Malley's whole suicide letter, viciously passive aggressive. I'm sure Mom Malley saved the letter to show the jury after she killed him because no one would convict her after hearing that. By the way, she's a really good writer. She had a lot of alliteration, not alliteration, where you compare something to something else. Yeah, she didn't rhyme everything like an idiot. Yeah, a lot of metaphors. Very cool.
Yeah, she wasn't a fucking asshole poet about it.
Well, she was. Yeah, everything. She's talking about this horrendous life, but everything starts with the letter A. Reed CJ says, this is the third time listening to this episode. Your dad, I'm glad you all survived him. What he's done and is still capable of doing is beyond the pale, a slow-moving horror show. He haunts your family as a shallow human being that couldn't find a way to happiness and make sure no one else could find it under his watch. Big hugs to you and Keith and anyone else that survived the madness. Oh, thanks.
I do think he has a obviously psychological issue, but it could be some sort of sociopath or something like that. He's just not violent.
He needs everybody to adore him, to love. I mean, that's why he's a priest. The kiss the ring thing, you know, that's what he needed. And if you didn't give it to him, he was gonna try to make it tough. And I know that remember, like I was with when he was hitting on my ex, he would think of me because he's writing to my ex. So he would send me a letter like, how's my son doing? Meanwhile, you just told my ex she makes your libido jingle. Well, this kind of happened again in that he was kind of shitting on me to one of my brothers. And at the same time, then sends me a New Year's letter. Now, he knows, of course, by now that I'm the one who I pretended I was the ex-wife when all this happened. And he was really talking to me. I make his libido jingle. Anyway, so he wrote me. I was going to say, so he knows I did all that. We're not talking. You know, he tries to put the blame on me because it'd be too embarrassing to admit. So it is weird that I'd get a New Year's thing.
Yeah, you haven't been talking for months.
Right. And when I've written fuck off.
Right.
May the entire coming new year find you growing in holiness, becoming a happier person, increasing in better health, and may prosperity shine on you.
Oh, I love these messages from parents that are so personal. I love it.
It's so
like,
sweet.
you know, especially when you have siblings, you're like, they're talking to me.
Right. And by the way, it doesn't mean everybody grow in holiness. It means me grow in holiness.
Right.
You know, then it says, Happy New Year, Keith and Chenda.
What?
So this was sent to, when I wrote them, I write them from info@keithandthegirl.com. So now everybody got this letter in my family with the name changed at the end. This says, Happy New Year, Keith and Chenda.
I'm the only person he hates more than you.
And Kyle didn't get a message on the side, just to be clear.
He is so... Father Malley, if you're listening, you are so obsessed with me. I have tried to get you out of my life for years. Actually, that's why we broke up, Keith and me. I fucking hate you. And I've been trying to get you out of my life for years. And you keep bringing up my name. You can't help it. I'm the original. This is pre-second New Testament shit, right? I qualified early. You are obsessed with me, sir. And by sir, I mean piece of shit who has troubled everybody who's tried to love him.
So I'm guessing this is
obsession. I know.
Obsession. And it also so that you go, does he think you, after all these years, that you're going to go? Keith, maybe you are too hard on him. He did say Happy New Year's.
No, I think it's more like, hey, you think you can catfish me? You can't even. I know this is info@keithandthegirl.com. So the girl might be listening also. Maybe, although I think that's the nicest version of things. Like it's the most conscious version. And I don't think he's that conscious. I think he's just garbage and is just like trying to cause controversy. Like, because with anybody else's relationship, these are fighting words for your girlfriend, possibly for my boyfriend. Like if people wanted to be petty about this, it's fucked up. Why is he saying that? Like, because we all know your dad is crazy, he's not going to kick up any dirt. But this is real, like shots fired sort of feeling, you know?
Yeah, what is it? Is it supposed to? Is it to do a fight between me and Kyle?
Yeah, I think.
And so much time has gone by where I haven't talked to my dad at all. Like when my mom was in assisted living, I saw her the first day. You know, she can't talk. Dementia's terrible. We don't. It's awkward laughing all the time. The second day I was going to see her again, my dad was going to be there. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even do that. So I'm not talking to him at all. But when this came in, I jumped out of bed and ran to the computer and I wrote from Kat's fake email address. I wrote him exactly what he wrote and then ended with Happy New Year, Mike.
Ooh, and then what? That's a good one.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. He's like, fuck. That's what I picture. And that's it. Just no. What are you doing? What clever thing do you think you're doing? I said, I'm not going to talk to you, so he literally can't. Now, let me just send a little reminder. Remember this? That pleased me.
That's a good response to it. I don't know. I think it's best not to continuously, analyze what he's trying to do because it's always garbage, and to put so much effort into what were you really trying to do is sort of like putting him in our whole day, but it's a piece of shit move that means nothing. That's ridiculous.
What a wacko.
Exactly. He can't even be like, okay, I see what you did. Like, it's like, what? You're trying to make us angry. It's just confusing and stupid. Like, at least be like, okay. Like, I found a hole in my wall for, a husband hiding shit from me. Hats off. Okay. All right. Maybe I should have cleaned along the borders of the room every year again. Maybe notice a couple of things, but maybe I should have used the shoes that were blocking it from me being seen. I threw out those shoes. So we're in a new year, new me, but his stuff is so stupid.
Watch your step, Keith. I can still write the agenda.
Okay. We'll read it on the same show.
Right. Also new Diamond Dogs episodes. Myself and Hollywood Craig Klein. This one is number 33 of Diamond Dogs called Screwed the Pooch. Keith and Hollywood Craig Klein return for their holiday special featuring your normal holiday fare, a brilliant take on the real world type TV. I have a great idea for a real world type television show. Old and new relationships, insurrections, racist judges, and Christmas gifts. The duo also need to discuss creep Buzz McAllister and wonder what's going on with troublemaker Jeff Garlin Oigavolt. You can check that out. Also, another episode, number 34, Foot Brawl. Well, if football isn't fucking stupid, is the description. Anyway, Keith and Craig are here for their annual in-between Christmas and New Year special. They discuss the holidays, family problems, and weirdos who publicly post their money transactions between friends. The duo talks about Steven Spielberg's West Side Story remake and the wonder of song and dance. Oh, and Keith totally would have won that I Feel Pretty bet. Duh. I know I would have. So VIP has a lot of stuff for you that you're going to dig. And of course, we'll still be doing Newsies, Q&A. We'll be doing Last Week on Keith and the Girl.
We have a surprise coming up soon. So make sure that you're a VIP. It also helps keep the show going. KeithandTheGirl.com/VIP.
That's right. Big news is that Ghislaine Maxwell, that trial just came to a conclusion. She was found guilty let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 of 6 of her sex trafficking charges.
Please remind us of this person.
Ghislaine Maxwell was friends with Jeffrey.
Oh, right. Okay.
Jeffrey Epstein. And she's the one who actually got the girls to go to this island, these underage women.
Yeah, she was pretty openly creepy in that documentary, right?
Yeah, I think yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What's interesting is I'm looking at what is the one not guilty thing, and it's regarding this one girl that went by the name Jane, or they had put her under the name Jane. Enticement of an individual under the age of 17 to travel with intent to engage in illegal sexual activity, not guilty. Transportation of an individual under the age of 17, Jane, with intent to engage in illegal sexual activity, guilty. So this one, the girl was sent over there. That's guilty. Not guilty was enticing her to. I guess she said yes too fast.
Interesting.
You know, but she could, Ghislaine could face up to 60 years.
Wow.
She declined to give evidence at her trial herself. You know, sometimes they say, take the stand, don't take the stand. She said the government has not proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt, so there's no reason to testify. And now she's like, can I testify now? And then too late. Oh, it didn't look like they were doing so good.
Wow.
Yeah. And are you caught up with Chris Noth, Mr. Big from Sex and the City?
I'm not. In fact, actually, I just watched the entire series again, and I watched the 2 movies so that I can watch the 3rd movie.
Yeah, you gotta be ready.
So I'm all caught up.
There were 3 movies?
There's the 3rd one that just came out.
Oh, it's a TV show that just came out, right?
Oh, was it a TV show? I thought it was a movie. I'm sorry. Well, the new Sex and the City that just came out is where I'm at now. And then I saw that news of Mr. Big, and I was hoping that it was just, the new thing related, the new show or movie. Right. But he had some, do we call them oopsies?
He had a couple, at least 5 women are accusing Chris Noth of sexual assault. And it's because these women saw the show come back, and they're like, no, not again.
What are they saying?
That he'd invite these people in the business over to his house, and then he'd insist on fucking them. They'd say no. Big thing was he would force doggy style in front of a mirror. They have this story in common. So the wife's got to be like, interesting, Chris. You do like doggy style in front of a mirror.
This is so weird because did you see the movie White Girl?
No.
It kind of is what it sounds like. She befriends a local drug dealer and continues to live her life while she kind of gets him deeper and deeper into trouble. Not kind of, for sure. She tries to get him out of trouble also. And she talks to this lawyer who is Mr. Big. So Chris, whoever he plays it. The lawyer, and there's a little bit of a spoiler. So a movie worth watching, I think, ends up fucking her from behind on the couch as sort of like a payment. And then in the next scene, she throws up. She's like, ugh. But it's just weird because that's how I remember it. I think I'm remembering it right. And that's just a weird character to play now.
It's some of these date back to 2004, but as recently as 2015.
And Samantha was the one who was kicked off this new one. Interesting.
Yeah.
What could she have done? Ugh.
Right. That'd be funny if they kicked her off because she was having sex all over the place. It's like, you probably got in trouble somewhere. Like, that was fake. You wrote it. Like, I know, but across town, how many across towns are there? But yeah, he was married at the time for some of these. She's seen without the wedding ring, so maybe that's the end of that. We'll see.
Sanctity of marriage. Remember when they weren't letting gay people get married because of their fucking precious sanctity of marriage?
Right.
LOL.
Let's see. So I know he lost $12 million in a tequila brand. So tough break there. His
$12 million. I guess his name is Mr. Big. Okay. Yeah.
Does anybody go, finally a new tequila is out? I mean, if George Clooney didn't solve our tequila problem, what are we doing? Nah, I need something a little different. Chris Noth, the guy known for his penis, is guy known for his fake dick. Makes my tequila.
Fake dick.
Mr. Big. I mean,
that's not why they're calling him that at all. No relation. Nope.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, that's not why they're calling him Mr. Big.
Why are they calling him that?
Because he's a big shot. Has nothing. They never mention his penis size.
It has nothing to do with it.
Nothing. Zero.
They're shocked that I said that.
I was just shocked. Yeah, that is.
They can't believe it.
That is not.
I assumed he always had a big dick.
Nope, never referenced his dick.
Oh, how clever of them. Well, now I'll read the books, in fact. I didn't know that. I was walking around like an idiot.
That's funny. No, they reference another guy that Samantha sleeps with who was too big for even her to fuck.
Right. Anyway, he's only in, I think it's a series, and he's only in like in the first episode. And that's what got him in trouble because he just had to do that show again.
Wow.
Now you, if you're a rapist, let me say something to all Hollywood rapists out there.
Keep going, because by the time they catch up to you, what are you losing? He's still rich, so no worries.
All right.
By the way, get yourself canceled. That gets you so many interviews. Don't worry about it.
I have a letter here from.
Who else has a special? Doesn't Louis C.K. have a special? Canceled. Good job being canceled.
Grammy. And he's up for a Grammy.
Mm-hmm.
Octavia writes, in June of 2020, when Kenda began offering OMAT Club, I was there today. Not only had I been struggling with how to structure my time since the pandemic shut down schools, I'm a teacher, but just 3 days before the first session, my now former partner had been shot in the head with a tear gas canister during our local George Floyd protest here in Omaha. This incident changed our lives forever, and I've literally only been able to take it moment by moment since. After coming out as non-binary, continuing to teach while impacted by the pandemic, buying my first home and living on my own after more than a decade, and some horrific losses in my school community, my own mental health has really been suffering the last few months. But I have been able to use what I learned from Kenda and in OMAT Club to ensure that I've been taking care of myself as best I can in this extremely challenging time in my life. So what better way to help remind myself to make it 1 minute at a time than getting an OMAT tattoo? I can't wait to kick off the new year with you all, because thanks to taking a leave of absence from work for a while, I will be back at OMAT in January. Keith and the Girl has been part of pretty much my whole adult life and has been the best community through it all. Thanks for all that you do, Octavia.
Octavia. Woo, 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 woo. Wow. Seeing that tattoo was such a big deal. I definitely send it to the family that I'm still talking to. It is huge because really OMAT came from when I really could only handle 1 minute at a time. And it turns out we all can only handle 1 minute, 1 second at a time. So I hope people join OMAT Club. If you gave to our Kickstarter, you have a free week whenever you want to use it. Use it.
There you have it. Okay. I was there. Feeling good. It's good to be back. I'll tell you that much.
It is. It's a good energy.
Don't forget, mark your calendars. February 5th will be the Keith and the Girl Marathon. 24 hours. We record. Yapping, 50 guests, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, this Wednesday will be the KATG nominations for your favorite segments of 2021. Most heartbreaking, most goofiest, most ridiculous. Big difference. Best fight, best rant. That'll be a lot of fun. So, make sure you download that episode and you'll be part of the voting. And there you have it. Okay. Yeah.
Keith is only giving you a week to vote this year. So whatever date you're listening to this, go to the forums, keithandthegirl.com/forums, start your voting. We're going to give the awards next week.
There you have it. All right. Good to be back, and we'll talk to you soon.